There is an island in Japan famous for producing some of the longest living people on Earth. Today, that same island has the highest obesity rate in the country. Same island, same genes, roughly one generation apart. That single fact tells you almost everything about how Japan actually stays lean. And it isn't what most videos say. Start with the number. Around 5% of Japanese adults have obesity. The average across developed nations is about 15%. In the United States, it's roughly 40%. So Japan isn't slightly ahead. It's in a different category entirely. The usual explanation is the food. That's part of it, but it's the smallest part. Yes, the traditional plate helps. Fish, rice, vegetables, soy, fermented foods, and a lot of water-heavy dishes like soup. Those foods are filling for the calories they carry. You finish a meal satisfied without having eaten much energy. There's also a phrase you've probably heard. Hara hachi bu. Eat until you're about 80% full. It comes from Okinawa, and it's a genuinely useful idea, because fullness signals lag behind your fork by about 20 minutes. But here's the problem with stopping the explanation there. Okinawa is where hara hachi bu comes from. And Okinawa now has Japan's highest obesity rate, and its highest rate of type 2 diabetes. After the war, American food arrived on the island and stayed. Okinawa today has more American-style fast food per person than any other prefecture. The knowledge didn't disappear, the environment changed, and the knowledge lost. Which points at the real answer. Japan's advantage isn't what people know, it's what's automatic. Consider how a Japanese child learns to eat. School lunch isn't a cafeteria choice. It's a national program, written into law in 1954, with nutrition standards every school must meet. In 2005, Japan passed a second law, making food education itself part of the curriculum. It's called shokuiku. Children serve the meal to each other, eat the same balanced tray, and clean up afterwards. Portion size and balance aren't decisions, they're the default. By the time that child is an adult, a normal portion simply looks normal. Then there's movement, and this one is almost invisible. Japanese adults average roughly 6,000 to 7,000 steps a day. In the United States, the average is closer to 4,800. Almost none of that gap is exercise. It's the walk to the station, the transfer, and the walk at the other end. A transit city makes you move. A car city makes it optional. And then there's the part that surprises people most. Since 2008, Japanese adults between 40 and 74 have their waist measured every year as part of a national health check. Cross the threshold, and you're offered counseling and follow-up. 85 centimeters for men, 90 for women. It's controversial, and reasonable people argue about it. But it means a rising waistline gets noticed early, rather than after 20 years. This isn't a story about a perfect country, by the way. Japan has its own health problems, including long working hours and a high smoking rate by wealthy nation standards. And Japan's own numbers have been drifting upward, particularly among younger men. The defaults are strong. They are not immune. Put those together, and a pattern appears. None of Japan's advantages require anyone to try hard. The lean default is built into the school, the street, and the calendar. Willpower is barely being asked to do anything, which connects directly to what we covered last time. A GLP-1 medication lowers the pressure to overeat chemically. Japan lowered it structurally. Both create the same thing, a stretch of time where eating normally isn't a fight. The difference is that Japan's version doesn't wear off when you stop taking it. You can't move to a different country, but you can copy the mechanism. Change the defaults, not the willpower. Make the walk unavoidable. Make the normal portion the one already on the plate, and get the number checked before it becomes a decade of drift. Because the lesson of Okinawa isn't that tradition protects you. It's that whatever surrounds you every day wins. Which is the honest version of the lesson. Defaults don't make anyone invincible. They decide which direction the drift goes. Next episode, we go back to the medicine and the newest question in the field. The Wegovy pill. Does swallowing it beat the shot? Subscribe, and I'll see you there. This is educational information, not medical advice. Talk to your doctor about your own situation.